I had reached a point where they weren't songs that were specific enough for like what I was going through. So I was like, why don't I just write them? You're pushing me.
I know.
That's what love me.
Yes.
That's what. That's what
You could do that.
love me.
I think it was very important as well because until I had finished writing the EP, I wasn't even sure what I was feeling. Like some things, like I look back now and I wrote them, I was like, oh, is that what I felt, dog? Like what the heck? So yeah, I think it came to a point where I couldn't find what I needed, so I made and like became what I needed. Okay, this one we can do. Let's start. I had always known that I would want to write music and put out and do this type of stuff, but I'm very particular about having a point of view. Like I was never gonna just write nonsense pop music that doesn't mean anything. That's not me and that's not what I believe music should be. So I'm grateful for the situation because it gave me a point of view, and I think I even say it in the song, you know, it gave me something to write about. It gave me my EP. So I'll forever be grateful for that. But like Emily Sandé literally says, as much as I'd love to, I'd rather not do this again. So like
the most difficult thing for me to see was just seeing my friend hurt like that. Like just the emotions that she was going through, and then you as a friend not knowing how to make her feel better. I think that was just the hardest thing for me because at times I just never know what to say.
when I say this thing shattered me, I mean like shattered me. Like the people who were around me know that I had to rebuild myself, and I'm still in the process of rebuilding myself. Like I'm not the same.
I don't think any parent wants a child to get hurt at any time. In a parent's eyes, your child is always your child, so it really doesn't matter when things happen. I guess it had to happen when it happened for a reason. Sometimes you don't know why certain things happen when they do. But then as a parent, obviously I would have loved for her to probably go through this at a later stage, because when you're older you sort of have gone through a bit more of maybe difficult situations and you can potentially manage yourself better and actually have the hope or the maturity of knowing that, you know, this is not the end of the world. Tomorrow is another day and I can get over this and, you know, I can overcome. But when you're younger, I think you're too judgmental and you think this is the end of the world and I can't go outside tomorrow. What will people think? But as you get older, life gets easier and you can almost like deal with things as they come and know that it's not as bad as what it looks.
It's just so corny. Like it's so like this is what I actually feel. Like, you know, when you're like honest for real and you're like feelings, emotional expression,
Ghetto.
nasty.
I think what makes the EP special is that these are conversations that I've had with her.
What people don't realize is that when you set out to write something that's very honest, and like it's called, like the thing is called Based on a True Story, like every single song, there's 8 songs, every single one of them has an element of truth, has an element of kind of like, if you know what happened in this situation, you'll be like, oh my word, is she really talking about this? Is she really talking about this?
We've spoken about it. She's cried about it. She's laughed about it. She's probably subtweeted someone about it. What makes it special is that it's real. Yeah, authenticity is a big thing for me. And when you literally put your sweat, your tears, your blood, we probably had a paper cut somewhere in studio. It means, it's like giving a piece of your soul to the world.
You have to go back and relive every single one of those emotions again. Like right now, for example, I've moved on and I'm in a different place and I'm in a different space, but like I'll go back and I'll listen to like a song like I Miss You, or have to edit it or have to re-record it, and it takes you all the way back to like when you were in that place and you were so sad and so desperate for this person. So it's really tough, like having to go back and do it over and over again.
I think it's one thing to write your feelings and to go through the heartbreak and to experience everything she's experienced and then decide, you know what, yeah, it's time. I'm gonna put my heart on my sleeve and I'm like gonna show the whole world what I went through. Because you could have just said, yeah, I wrote the EP, I wrote my feelings down, this is great, but it's a wrap, it ends here. So for her to be like, yeah, taking the step to release it and work on it, that was definitely the proudest moment.
There's a whole story behind it, which is what differentiates it from like a whole bunch of music that's out there right now, you know, because like a lot of artists don't really like put their own personal stories into the music anymore.
This is my favorite song. And I hope I don't have to regret it. I love this song.
Wow.
We'll talk.
Vibes.
That was actually really pretty. Well done.
That part
You leave me hanging.
The highs and lows and in between.
Can we put it a bit softer? Innate, we always do it would end up this way. Got it. Okay.
That's so sad.
And I've always seen you through my eyes. We've changed, but we can improvise. Can't let the future keep.
No. Can't leave the present keeping the future. Huh? Can't live the present keeping the future in mind. I second guessed so much of the EP process. Like, it would be the most minor details. Like, I know there's one of the songs, I just need to remember, and I'm sorry, and I go, and I'm fighting for a spot in your heart. What did I say? Fight for a spot in your heart, don't be smart. Just let us be what we are. Like, that line took me 7 years to like finish, because I was like, am I gonna go, let us be what we are, or let us be what we were? You know, like one word, and I sat on that word for a month. And I think it was just, I would tell myself back then to just let it flow, don't stress it too much, it's okay, because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is express. And I think I've learned as well through this whole EP process that your feelings can never be wrong. You can react in a, you know, questionable way, you can do questionable things because of how you feel, but your feeling in itself is never wrong. So just do it. Are we recording?
Why don't you listen?
Why don't you listen?
Why don't you listen? Why don't you listen? Baby, I'm missing. Come over, let's chat. Don't do me like that. Why don't you listen? Baby, I'm missing.
Forgot the words for the second part, but like we'll go back and do it.
Sure.
I
Just
like
mind your breathing.
Is it wrong?
No, it's fine. Well, just say it. Try not to breathe before you start speaking. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I just have some questions. What were your intentions? To make me a fool, I guess I'm the rule. I just have some questions. You're testing my patience. Or was it a game?
I'm a rapper now. Most Beyonce's a rapper, isn't it?
No.
If you don't jump,
If Beyonce's not a rapper, Robin's not a singer. Let's
Okay, now we're taking it too far.
let's chat. A trophy you claim, a thing that you do. No, okay. So Tando, problem.
Yes.
We need to. It's going to change. So it's going to be, was it a game, a trophy you claim? We can't have a thing that you do repetition. It doesn't fit anymore.
Okay.
So, was it a game, a trophy you claim? Then I need a lyric.
You need a lyric.
We need a lyric.
You genuinely should get paid because you're doing a lot of like writing on this.
You know,
But I don't do this professionally.
So
'Cause you don't want
it's free
to.
money.
Wow.
If the EP does well and like
if the EP does well, guys, stream the EP so Tando can have a salary.
If you could have a threesome with two of your songs,
Never.
which ones would it be?
I mean, naturally deeper. And I think this one. I think back and forth. I feel like rocket.
I'm excited for like the reception, because from what I've heard from the EP, like there's literally something for everybody. So if you're a pop fan, you're gonna find like a pop track that bangs. If you're a trap fan, there's one that I'm super excited about that I know a lot of people are gonna love. Like the verses, the hook is fucking insane.
I don't think you can pinpoint what my sound is, and that's one of the things that like excites me. It's so diverse, and I think that's what I would classify my sound as, because I always say that when I make music, I'm not trying to make a song, I'm trying to make an emotion. And different emotions I feel manifest in different genres. Because for example, when you're angry, you just want to put on some Eminem, some rap and just like, you know, go at it. But like when you're sad, you want to cry to a ballad. So I don't think you can classify my sound, and that kind of makes it interesting. So the EP as it stands is 8 tracks, but it wasn't written as 8 tracks. It was written as 9.
My favorite song was Sliced.
Considering doing what?
Considering taking a song out.
Wow. Which song is it?
What that means. It was such a beautiful song, and I had written it kind of as like this free verse based off of you know, the whole Bible verse that speaks about love is patient, love is kind, whatever. I wrote this beautiful free verse thing, and Tando and I had sat and planned it out, and when it came time to record it, it just wasn't working. And it was one of those things where we could have forced it and just been like, okay, let's force it, let's just get something out. But I feel like it was such a special song that maybe I think I'll put it out as a single one day, but I just wanted the chance to do it properly. So we had to cut it out, like we had to scrap it. And I was so gutted because I wrote the whole EP before I started recording anything. And I wrote it as a story, and I wrote everything so intentionally. So I felt so guilty because I was like, if I take this out, am I taking out a piece of the story? Am I ruining the whole thing? And it was a difficult decision to make, but I think to protect kind of the quality of the EP and of everything I put out, I think it was the best decision in the end.
Acting like we never met, faking like we just forget we were lovers, and now there's nothing left but small talk.
Yeah, it isn't finished.
My heart don't match what you see.
I need to do the second one again.
I think the most challenging thing about working with Max is that as much as we're collaborating together, it's her project at the end of the day, and you don't want to have so much input that you kind of drown her voice out. So for me, what was difficult was finding a balance between what I would like to see her do and what she wants to actually do.
So particularly for the writing of the EP, it took me about 5 to 7 months to write it, because I started around about October, November last year, and I kind of put myself on a music hiatus because there's a lot of comparison in the music industry, especially in the South African music industry, where it's like, are you the next Amy Faku? Are you the next Elaine? Are you? And I didn't want to be the next anything. I didn't want to be like anything. So I kind of cut myself off from a lot of music just so that I could focus on me and my music and my sound and what I wanted to do. So I wouldn't say the EP is influenced by anyone's style, but in the same breath, I think to be great, you have to learn from greats and study greats. So I really, really admire the way that Emily Sandé writes, the way Alessia Cara writes. Jessie Reyes is a beautiful writer. The way Beyonce plays with harmonies and layering and stuff, I think that was also a big type of thing that I learned from. Labyrinth as well, beautiful, you know, in terms of putting an idea and crafting an idea. So, I mean, learning from, I would say I've learned from those people, but never completely being influenced by something. Like, forgive me for not using the right terminology. We keep like the drums. No, we take out the drums but leave everything else.
I think the biggest lesson she's learned from the artistic process is just getting to put all the pieces together, because she not only had to write the lyrics, sort out the melodies, get the teams together, but she had to literally learn the entire value chain.
Or even switch them.
in that the first one is the one where we just take out the drums, depending on how it sounds. The first one is where we just take out the drums, and the second one we take out the whole thing. When she makes artistic calls.
I think I've achieved what I wanted to, in just that I just wanted to speak, and I just wanted to express, and I just wanted to be honest. And I think a lot of people will find pockets of honesty towards like that, mirror their story in a way in the EP as well, and give people that space and kind of show people that it's fine as well, because I know a lot of people will be surprised about the subject matter of the EP, because when I like kind of told people, hey, I was writing, and when I put out For You, my single, everyone was like, okay, cool, this is Max. Max is a vibe, it's happy, it's nice, and that's always been me, and that's just who I am in all my circles. And I think the EP is so different. It's not what people would expect. It's a very deep and dark and type of like heavy content, and not a lot of people would expect that from me. So I think it was nice to also just like achieve that whole type of thing of showing different sides, you know?
Let them see the real me. This is hard work. Ra-ta-ta-ta. It's not all glamour and glitz behind the scenes. I was wrong, you were right. We played the part, but baby, wasn't I? No, I want to start again. Definitely, that was foul. Foulty. Don't you press decline, cause baby, I'm falling. When I feel that rush.
Fun.
All I wish for my daughter is for her to be happy, to really, really be happy. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing something that really doesn't speak to your passion in life, or doesn't really make you feel alive, or tap into the purpose that you were born to achieve on this earth, then what's the point?
I've seen her do her degree and hate every second of it. And I've seen her do so many things and hate every second of it. And now I think my fondest memory is just seeing like the happiness, and then obviously the celebrations after the song comes out, or day in studio, or those kinds of things. I think it's the happiest moments.
What inspires me most about Max is her essence and who she is, and so being so steadfast in who she is, rather the fact that no matter what the world tells her, and no matter people's opinions about her, and just opinions in general, she's always rooted in her character and rooted in her goals and her morals. So yeah, that's the fact that she never changes for anybody ever.
Egos. Huncho. Quavo.
Wasn't it Takeoff, Offset, and Quavo?
I just know Huncho, Quavo. Yes, those are their names. But I wasn't like trying to say their names. I was just saying that ad lib.
I'm sure it is Quavo. It's like another.
Yes, but all I'm saying is I'm the man.
Heartbreak is debilitating. Like, you feel like you can't move. And I want people to know that it doesn't matter how much your heart breaks, you can do it. You can wake up, you can be better, you can live another day.
It's just a part of life. Like, it happens to every single one of us. So I feel like it's something, there's a story that we can all relate to.
What I hope people take from the EP is how to deal with grief and move on.
Hope that a lot of people will relate to it and find their own stories in the songs, and maybe find hope.
Heartbreak doesn't define who you are. As much as it hurts and you feel like, why am I not worth a relationship? That's not who you are. You are not a relationship. You're not happy because of a relationship. And you need to make you happy from within.
But I also think people can see that you don't have to be like someone before you can start releasing something. I mean, you can come from almost nothing and then move up. I just think that they must see that there's a willingness for you to work hard at something and be able to achieve it.
that even though everyone is entitled to their opinion, I'm never going to force anyone to love something that I do or hate something that I do, and I'm always very open to constructive criticism. I just ask that it's that. I ask for people to be gentle, and I ask for people to take it seriously because it means a lot to me. I think throughout everyone's speeches, I think my mom said it, Tando said it, y'all all know that like every single song has truth in it, and the EP is called Based on a True Story because that's what it is, you know. I'm not saying what I'm saying is the truth of what happened. It's just what I felt. And I think something that I've learned, and even I said it, is that your emotions can never be wrong. You know, you can act in wrong ways because of what you feel, but I just want you to know that like your emotions are never wrong. Your emotions are valid. It's fine to feel what you feel. Healing isn't linear. Do what you need to do to heal, but at the end of the day, all you have is your story, and you're allowed to tell it, and you're allowed to make better things out of your pain. So that's that.